that guy. Run, come quick. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us truly, truly rejoice and be delighted to embrace it and live it and be part of its wonderful experience. And so as we celebrate this morning here together in beautiful sunny Kingston, Jamaica at the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living, I invite you to join me for the opening affirmative prayer. Together, let us recognize that one eternal presence and power that we know as God. And we know that that presence and power is expressing perfectly, powerfully, and awesomely at the very center of our beings. It is that in which we live and move and have our perfect expression. And it is that which beckoned us here this morning to celebrate that consciousness of the Christ that is forever being birthed in the cradle of our hearts. And so we give thanks for this collective experience where we join together with each other in that sense of harmony and love to celebrate this period that we know as Christmas time. And so we give thanks for our gathering. We give thanks for the consciousness that is vibrating so beautifully in this sanctuary. We give thanks for the music, for the message, for everything that is occurring here, knowing that in the moment it is God, and it is good and so very good. And so with joy and celebration, I release these words with the blessed assurance that they are perfectly, powerfully, and awesomely being demonstrated as an amazing morning experience with each and every one of us. This is a joy to know, and with rejoicing I declare that it is so now, and so it is.
It is.
Wow. This morning, I will share with you a reading. I will share with you a reading from this beautiful book, 366 Days of Inspiration, written by Petra Weldes and Christian Sorensen. And I'm going to turn to the reading on this of December 25th. And the title of it is No Room. It's almost unimaginable to think of a very pregnant young woman about ready to give birth showing up at your door in the middle of winter and being told, sorry, no room for you. Can you even fathom telling someone to go deliver her baby in the barn with the animals? Well, that's not quite the romantic version of the story, but a powerful precursor to an unfolding saga of no room. Herod learned of Jesus' birth from the gossip of the day and sent soldiers to Bethlehem to eliminate all children. There was no room for the teaching that was being perceived, no room for his miracles, and the leading religious leaders wanted him gone. Even in death, he didn't get his own tomb. It was borrowed from Herod. This story comes from 2 millennia ago, but the question is still valid today. Do you have room for the birth of the Christ consciousness in your world? Having no room at the inn is not nearly as significant as having room in your life for a higher awareness to birth itself into your experience. Is there room in your expression, or are you full? Is there room for peace, or are conflict and otherness taking up too much space? Are your pursuits leaving too little time for your spiritual revelations? Are you so busy that you don't have time to create room for God in your life? Think about that and just share this affirmation with me. I have room. I always have room for God. Together. I have room. I always have room for God. And so it is. Now, friends, we have a very, very special treat for you this morning. Our praise song is entitled Early Christmas Morning. It was penned by the inspiration and creative expression of Professor Barry Shevans, and it is being sung by his daughter Amber. Can we please welcome Amber Shevans today? And she will do the verses and invite everyone to join in the chorus. As I would say, Amber, take it away.
Early Christmas morning, when the star them getting thin, from a squatter window, a woman start to sing. Holy, holy indeed, feel God great, feel true, feel God great. In a very time, God word settled down, just like gentle dew drop on the morning ground. Holy, holy indeed, we God great, be true, we God great. Like moonshine pon the harbor, like the sunlight through the day. So this baby love we esteem come still. Holy, holy, holy name. Feel we God great, feel true. Feel we God great. One day soon this little boy went up prime minister. Then Puss and Dog will walk and talk, for them turn brother and sister. Holy, holy, holy name. Feel God great, feel true. Feel God great. Everlasting Father, shining Prince of Peace, mighty God Jehovah, comes love from the east. first bus. Early Christmas morning when the star them getting dim. From a squatter window, a woman start to sing. Holy, holy, holy him. Feel God greeting true. Feel God greeting.
Thank you so much, Amber. What a treat. Let her have it again. Oh, wow. The Siobhan's legacy continues. What a joy, what a blessing. Thank you so much for gracing us with your voice and with your daddy's music. Oh, awesome. Don't make me start now, you know.
Somebody cry.
We have a posse of criers in this place. Don't make me start. Oh, but it's tears of joy. I mean, and gooses. Awesome. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to invite you all to stand so we can do our prayer for our center. And it's on the flyer in our program, or it's on the screen if you're watching online. Together. The Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community, from which the Christ's peace, love, and joy emanate, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love everyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God, and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. And now we're going to do the lighting of our candle for all the youth of the world. We have Breeze. I got it. Here we go. I light this candle for all the youth of the world and all the people of the world. Let us behold the Christ in them and in each other. And so it is. Let us say the blessing together. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you. We see you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is. And now we are going to sing our mission song.
The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, and it's on a mission to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate everyone who comes into contact with us. Anytime,
another blessed memory, our beloved maestro, written and put to music by maestro based on our mission. May I ask you to please sit? We have a few short announcements. I'm sure that you have noticed our beautifully decorated Christmas tree. Isn't it absolutely stunning? Clap it now. Oh. They say less is more, you know. Absolutely gorgeous. So this morning, we celebrate the givingness of Clive Thompson and Clive Edwards. This is their annual gift to the temple. And it has been decorated by Faye Kessler and Christina Sherman. We know her as Tina. Stunning. Thanks, Clive and Faye and Christina. Now, our services, we are invited to spend a few quiet moments in the garden with Reverend John every Monday morning at 6 a.m. EST on Facebook Live. And please join us again on Facebook Live for our spiritual mind healing service on this Tuesday, December 22nd at 6 p.m. This week, I, practitioner Sandra Cooper, will be your speaker, and the topic is Christmas presents. So come and see and listen to and have a conversation with me about your Christmas presents. On our Christmas Day celebration will be with our pastor, Rev John Scott, and host Reverend Michael Record on Friday, December 25th at 7:30 a.m. Now, if you turn up at 9 o'clock, that means we'll lock up and gone home to cook Sunday dinner, Christmas dinner. So just bear in mind, it is 7:30 a.m. And yes, Reverend Michael, thank you. He's reminding us that it's in the morning, because 7:30 in the evening, you should be in bed, locked down, in curfew. So it's 7:30 a.m. And then on Sunday, December 27th, we go back to our 9 o'clock. We'll have regular practitioner service with practitioners Vance Gardner and host Carol Campbell. Now, this Thursday is going to be a very special prayer power event. Thursday is Christmas Eve, December 24th, and it will feature an hour of Christmas music from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., hosted with practitioner Steve Golding. Now, one of the beautiful things about this time, it has caused us to really open up the world. And so Steve is in Florida, but we're going to have him at Prayer Power. So I invite you to participate in that, to make a note in your calendars and make it a point of duty to be part of that. But you will need to call in to let us know that you want to participate so we can send you the Zoom link. Okay? What's that, Reverend Ann? So it's going to have a Best by Request component. Okay, so Reverend Ann is saying that when you are part of that experience, or even before, you can let us know what your favorite Christmas carol is. And we'll be sure to have that in our special requests. Now, New Year's Eve, it will really be very interesting what New Year's Eve is going to look like this year. So on December 31st, we're going to say a very grateful goodbye to 2020. And it will be virtual, and we'll have a very prayerful welcome to 2021. And it will be on our Facebook platform. The service will feature inspirational readings, music, and prayers led by Reverend Michael Record and Reverend Ann Shan. So that's New Year's Eve. You don't have to leave your home. Just cook a pot of gungo pea soup. That is one of the traditions of us here in Jamaica. A pot of gungo pea soup, and just tune in to the service online. That is New Year's Eve, December 31st. Oh, thank you, Reverend John. The time is 11 p.m. Okay, so that's 11 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Now, other services, please remember to call our office at 876-946-2230 if you are intending to attend our Sunday celebration in person. As you know that congregants attending must wear a mask and observe the prescribed protocols. Please also remember to maintain physical distancing and leave the premises as quickly as possible after the service. If you can't bless us with your presence on Sunday, you can still be with us in consciousness as services are and continue to be live streamed on Facebook Live. Now, our prayer support never stops. We continue to respond with prayer to the challenges of this very special time. A practitioner is always available to pray with you during a 15-minute period immediately following our service every Sunday. The practitioner minister on duty today is Reverend Sonia Davidson, and the number is 876-289-0907. Also, you can listen to an inspiring prayer by calling our prayer line at 876-978-1167. And if you wish to speak in person to one of our ministers, they may be reached at 876-289-0907 from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight, Monday to Friday. You can also phone in your prayer requests into our office at 876-927-6145 or 876-946-2230. Or you can email us at templeoflight@cwjamaica.com. You may drop off your prayer requests, your tithes, offerings, and also set appointments for practitioner support. Now, if you feel moved to support our ministry of love and light, your loving gifts may be transferred to our savings account, number 20941, at the Bank of Nova Scotia, New Kingston branch. Viewers who join us on Facebook Live, please visit the Home tab on our Facebook page, and you will find the link to our PayPal donate button in the top post. Now, if you are worshiping with us in person, there's a basket on either side of the podium in which you can place your offerings as you exit the sanctuary. And this is it for our announcements this morning. So I'm inviting you now to stand and join me in the singing of our first hymn, Good News. And it's on page 3 of your program and on the screen for those of you who are joining us on Facebook.
Jesus the
out. Thank you very much, Angie and Lily, and to our Uncle Noel for this beautifully penned Christmas carol that really feels Jamaican. Oh, let us just give him thanks. And now, to bring the good news in our message this morning is our pastor, our spiritual teacher, our friend and Kumbolo, Rev John Scott. Please welcome him.
Good morning, friends and Kumbolo. I love, thank you, Sandra, for that wonderful introduction. And good morning, worldwide family. It is a joy to add my own words. So welcome to the beautiful Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living in balmy, warm December, Jamaica. You know, before I get into my encouragement, I have to tell you something about Professor Barry Chevans. All through our lives, we meet people that are our coaches in some kind of way. And I learned a very life-altering message from him. I don't even think he knew how transformative it was for me. I was at a dinner party at a mutual friend's house. And this was back in the early years when I had just joined the Temple of Light and never known nothing about truth and, speaking the truth. So I was laying forth warm about irresponsible fatherhood. Jamaican men who just don't look after their children. And after I had talked about it for a long enough time, he said, "John, can I share something with you?" So I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Stop saying it. It's not true. Jamaican men love them, picnic them, and want to be the best fathers they can. That is the truth. And when you start believing that, you will be amazed how much of it you will observe and how much of it you will see happening." Friends will never say another word for the entire dinner party. May just eat the food and shut my mouth. Would you believe that next morning, and now that, those of us that study the science of man know that this is how it is. When you set your intention for something, the universe moves to support you. Next morning, on my way down to Harbor Street to where I used to work, I passed 4 men during the course of my drive down, all carrying their little children. And where were they going? At least 3 of them were going to the children's hospital. I picked up everybody that I could in my little 2x2 that I was driving at the time and dropped them there. And I can't tell you that it was my first lesson in this teaching. We have to look for what we want to experience. Isn't that so true? Which brings me to my encouragement, which I've titled this morning, "Wise Men Still Seek Him." And I wanted to start by sharing with you that, I never cease to be amazed at how fervently we turn to God when trouble catch we, when things are not going the way we want them to go. We look for God. We try to find that presence and power. But of course, a lot of people look for it outside themselves. Maybe we could follow the example of a little boy who received a ball for Christmas. And he said to his mother, Christmas morning, "I'm going outside to play ball with God." And she said, "Oh, that's interesting, darling. How are you going to do that?" He said, "It's very simple. You know how children can explain things to you as if, duh. You mean to say you don't know that? You're 100 years old and you don't know?" Very simple, he said. You just throw the ball up in the air and God throws it back. Oh, the lessons we can learn from little ones, eh? It's amazing. It is related to that a man was traveling across the Arabian desert, and he had an Arab guide. And one evening, the guide rolled out his prayer rug and knelt to pray. So the traveler, being a cynical man, said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm going to pray." So the traveler persisted and said, "To whom or to what?" So the guide said, "To God." So the traveler said, "And have you seen him?" He said, "No, no, I haven't." He said, "Well, then no such thing can exist." And with that, he turned and went into his tent to retire for the night. Next morning when he awakened, it appeared that the camels had broken loose of their tethers and had been, running wild around the camp. So he called the guide from his tent and said, the camels are broken loose and they've been stomping around the camp. So the guide said, "Did you see them?" He said, "No, but you can see their footprints in the sand." And just then the sun was rising in the east, and the Arab laid out his prayer rug, and as he knelt, he said, "Look, the footstep of God." So my friend, I really wonder how many of us really love God for God's sake and look for God. A lot of people look for it outside themselves. But I wonder how many of us really recognize that if we are seeking that union and that oneness with the infinite and divine presence, that we have to follow that star, that astral star of divine wisdom that leads us to where the Christ, the Son of the living God, resides. And where is that child to be born? That child is to be born anew at this time in the cradle of our hearts. And you see that whole Jesus story, it's so tender and so beautiful. And it doesn't matter whether it actually is a fairy tale and a myth in terms of the chronology and the history of the years and the time and what have you. What is beautiful about it is the symbolism, because it's your story. It's my story. It's the story of how, like all of humanity, we look for meaning. We look for that thing which unites us with something so awesome and so beautiful and so powerful that if we could just understand what power we have at our command, Jesus the Master himself, as he said, we could do even greater things. Because in each of us is the power and the potential for healing, for touching, for blessing, for prospering, for uplifting, for inspiring, for showing others the footsteps of God in the desert of our lives. And so, friends, this Christmas, I just want us to be aware of the power that's at our disposal and to use it as we have promised ourselves in our mission statement to really lift other people up. Because when something like this year happens and throws the whole world upside down, in Jamaica we say, when trouble catch you, picnic shoes fit you. A picnic shot? Okay, shoes better. Whatever it is, it not fit. But friends, those of us who study the science of mind, we have been taught that God is not a power that takes hold of our lives from outside. It is within. It is within our minds, within the realm of thought. And that in order to change things, we have to change our minds and keep them changed. We change our minds all the time. I've tried to decide on 4 different shirts this morning. But I changed my mind. Hey, you don't know. So it's easy to change your mind. What is the challenge is that when you hit it, that you keep your mind changed, you keep your mind focused and centered on what it is that you have decided. And I think back to that tender, beautiful story of Mary. And, you know, as the story goes, Gabriel telling her that something is waiting to be born through you, something so beautiful and so wonderful. You ever thought what would happen if Mary did say no? None of the last 2,000 odd years would have happened. But Mary somehow knew that that which she was called to give birth to would change the course of history. She didn't know how, and she didn't know just how it was going to happen. But she said, "Be it done unto me." And so, my friends, this morning I want to ask you if there is something waiting to be born through you. And can you, like Mary, say yes? Just say, "Yes, I am ready. I don't know quite how, but I am ready to bring it forth so that it can bless the world." You know, the scriptures tell us that God so loved that what? He gave his only begotten Son. And that's a little mix-up of the words, you know. Because what is true is that Jesus and you and I were begotten only of the Father. And the truth that I bring you this morning is that you are begotten only of the same presence and power that begat Jesus, our brother. And God so loved that he gave you. He gave you as a gift to the world. Wow! Just think about that, my friends. You are God's gift to life. You are God's gift to the person sitting beside you, to the person that's in front of you at the supermarket, to the policeman who stops you and asks for your papers. You are God's gift. Yeah, I want just to do it to me. You are God's gift to the world. You, the only begotten son or daughter. So you see, the Christ was not Jesus' last name. The Christ is the principle of divine sonship or daughtership that makes you begotten only of the Father, full of grace and truth. And so you are God's treasured gift, and your assignment this Christmas, it may be a stretch for some people, but I'm going to give it to you anyhow. I want you to give something you treasure to someone you treasure. Now, it doesn't have to be expensive. I know diamonds are a girl's best friend. Not only a girl, my own too. But the treasure doesn't have to be something expensive. It may be your favorite book that lives its life on your bedside table. And that you say, "Boy, I don't know, this book is out of print and I really treasure it." Give it to someone you treasure. Or it may be something that your friend or family member has always admired. And I have a way of saying, "It's okay, I'm going to leave it in my will for you." Give it to them this Christmas. Take it off the wall or out the cupboard or of wherever it is, off the bookshelf, and give it to someone. And in doing this, this is for me symbolic of God giving you, which is such a treasured possession of the Almighty, to the rest of the world as a gift. You like that assignment? Yes, 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 yes. You are the treasure. You are the gift. And you know, when we begin to think about this awesome truth that we are the sons and daughters of God, when that awakening happens in your consciousness, you begin to see everybody in your experience in a different light. Perhaps in the light of that star that illumined the coming of the Christ all those many centuries ago. One of the things that I find moving and emotional and just, it just blows my mind every time it happens, is in my ministry at the prisons in Jamaica, here in Kingston, when that truth dawns upon the participants in our class, change your thinking, change your life, as we call it, when those men realize that, yes, you know, because sometimes we greet them and we say, hello, Godson. And then I explain that that's not just a term of endearment. It is a term of endearment, but it's literally true. You are God's son. And them say me? And I say you. You say you don't know what me in here for. Me say no matter what you are in here for, and I don't give a damn, excuse the French. And God doesn't care either. You are not what you have done. You are not your past. You're not even the present. You are God's treasured possession. You belong to something so awesome and so beautiful and so breathtaking in its power. And when you say to them, you can see them, their body language literally changes. You see men straightening up who are slouched. You see people's heads and chins going up and shoulders going back, because the dawning in their consciousness is that God, the living Spirit Almighty, is the truth of who they are. And I can tell you, friends, when it happens, it's breathtaking. I think when it happens, the same angels, the same messengers of love and peace and beauty that sang at the coming of Jesus the way shower, sing again. I swear I can walk across that prison courtyard and hear the sound of ancient chants, because another one, another son of God has awakened to his spiritual magnificence. And so my prayer, my wish, my deep, deep desire for each of you this Christmas is that if you haven't awakened to it yet, that you will wake up to the truth of your sonship and daughtership. And like Mary, you too are pregnant with the Christ potential. You too will give birth to something awesome that will bless the world and change the course of your history, and maybe the history of those near to you, those people you treasure, forever and ever. So, my friends, to live your life from the lofty aspect of your inherent divinity is indeed your goal. And like the wise men that sought to find the Christ, that principle that binds us forever to the God presence and power, and binds us to each other as the sons and daughters of this awesome presence, that realization and that awakening and that truth will transform your life and lift you up on the wings of joy to a wonderful, wonderful celebration of the coming of the Christ. And you will be the purveyor of the good news that Jesus, the man, lived. And he has moved on to do whatever he needs to do on the eternal upward spiral of life. But the Christ, which he said was the comforter that he would leave with us, lives within every human heart and in every situation, so that light, which is the light of the Christ, fills the entire world. And my prayer is that there will be no more dark places upon the face of the earth, that from east to west, from north to south, above, below, and within the consciousness of humankind, the light of the Christ will just chase all of the shadows of doubt and disbelief and hatred and prejudice and misunderstanding away. And as we say in our Declaration of Principles here in the Science of Mind, there will be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature. And we believe that that goal, my friends, is sure to be attained by all. So I just want you to just end with a beautiful meditation written by Ernest Holmes, who said, if we can come to feel that our lives are rooted in the divine spirit, that our minds and bodies are instruments of it, that our whole experience may become the movement of this spirit, this infinite wisdom, truth, and love, through us, in our thoughts and in our actions, then we shall begin to feel safe. No more worry about what's happening in the society. We shall find that we are resting at night, that we sleep in peace, and that wake in joy, and live in a consciousness of good. Unquote. And so in the chapter 22 of the Science of Mind, which is titled Finding the Christ, Holmes writes, and I quote, if we could stand aside and let the one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people. We must forget everything else and let our word be spoken with a deep inner realization of love, beauty, peace, poise, and power, and of the great presence of life at the point of our own consciousness. And his meditation is this: be still. O soul, be still, and know. Look unto the One and be illumined. Rejoice and be glad, for thy spirit lights the way. Lift up thine eyes and behold him, for he is fair to look upon. Listen to his voice, for he will tell thee of marvelous things. Receive him, for in his presence there is peace. Embrace him, for he is love. Let him tarry with thee, that thou mayest not be lonely. Take counsel from him, for he is wise. Learn from him, for he knows. Be still in his presence, and rejoice in his love forevermore. And so may we rejoice in that love which comes again and again, and that we celebrate every year. Can it be a deeper, more meaningful celebration for us this Christmas as we seek to find the treasures of 2020, and as we leave it behind, to set our intention to let our light so shine that others may see that we are the gift, that like the wise men we sought and found the living God in the inn of our lives. And as Sandy said in her reading this morning, never, ever will we have to say no room, because our hearts are open and our lives are a living testimony to the glory and the greatness of that which called us into being and which sustains us in its own beauty, its own love, its own joy, and its own perfection at our levels of unfoldment. Merry Christmas, my friends, when it comes. Please join us on Christmas Day, which is at 7:30, as Reverend Michael said, in the morning, when the star of Bethlehem arise. Come show me where the young child lay. Namaste, and love you. And now we have a treat. We have Angela and Emily with one of my favorite Christmas songs. Mary, did you know? Did you know? Did you know the beauty waiting to be born in your heart? And that the gift that God has given of your time, your talent, your treasure would lift us up this morning, Emily and Angela, to the realms of the angels. Thank you. Can we stand and say our wonderful prayer of Jamaica? It's on a flyer in your program and on the screen if you're watching us on the World Wide Web together. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truth of life which sets free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, help, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And our hymn, Angels We Have Heard on High, on page 3.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. In excelsis Deo, in excelsis Deo. Shepherds, my is truly, by your joyous strains prolong. Let the gladsome tidings be, which inspire heavenly song. In excelsis Deo, in excelsis Deo. To the Christ of God we sing, and to truth so long concealed. For in man a newborn King has this day now been revealed. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
And in this consciousness of glory, would you take your love offerings in your hands? And if you're at home about to press the PayPal button, just put your hands on your heart to bless the offering of your life and your love and your substance. As we say together, lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is. In this consciousness, we bless God's treasured gift of our lives, the gift of each of us, his sons and daughters, to the world. And like Mary, we say, yes, be it done unto me according to the will of that which created me out of itself in the image and likeness of its beauty, its love, its joy, and its wholeness. And so as we go from this place about our daily duty, our daily activities, we stay connected. Distant perhaps physically, but also very close. Close to the heart of God, close to that tender, beautiful baby that is being born anew in our consciousness, in the manger of our hearts, in the stable of our lives. We are so grateful. And we let it be as we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, that this is so. And so it is. My friends, let us sing, Yes, There is Peace. And just sing it from your heart. In fact, put your hands on your heart if you feel so moved.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth,
The peace that was meant to be with God as our power. Family all are we.
yes,
We walk with each other in perfect harmony.
yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take,
Yes, this is my joyous vow, my vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Awesome, awesome.
Oh, just take it with you as you go from this place. We'll see you again tomorrow morning in the garden, and on Tuesday evening on Facebook Live, and on Christmas Day at 7:30 in the morning. We'll see you, and we'll see you, and we'll see you with the eyes of God and with hearts of love. Thank you for being, and thank you for the gift of yourself. Namaste.